Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Wajid, remote job wala. I am a student at Rihan AI Teacher Training Institute. I am doing AI Teacher Training course. So today I will take an interview with ChatGPT. So without further delay, let's get started. The topic is the secret to building lasting habits. Assalamu al- Hello,
Wanick.
hello Chat.
Hey,
How are you?
of course, I'm right here and ready to help. What's on your mind, or what would you like to talk about?
I want to take an interview with you. Are you ready?
Absolutely, I'm ready. Just let me know what kind of interview it is, like the format or the topics, and we can dive right in.
The secret to building lasting habits. This is a topic, and I will ask several questions, and you will give answer uh, each of them. My
That
question.
sounds great. Perfect, I'm ready. Just go ahead and ask your first question, and I'll give you a
My
detailed
first
answer.
question is, what is a habit and how is it formed?
That's a great starting point. So, a habit is basically a behavior that we do automatically, often triggered by a specific cue without a lot of conscious thought. It forms through a cycle. A cue prompts a routine, and we get a reward. Over time, that loop strengthens and the habit becomes ingrained.
Okay, so my next question is, why are habits more powerful than motivation alone?
That's a really insightful question. So, habits are powerful because they're automatic and don't rely on how motivated we feel in the moment. Motivation can be up and down, but once a habit is formed, it just runs in the background. So, you're less dependent on willpower, and that makes it a lot more reliable in the long term.
Okay, so my next is, how do small habits lead to big changes over time?
Yeah, that's a really key idea. Small,
Okay, continue it.
exactly. Of course. So when you consistently do small actions, things like reading a few pages a day or taking a short walk, they add up. Over weeks, months, and years, these tiny shifts create huge transformations, even though they might feel insignificant at first.
Okay, so my next question is, what is the difference between good and bad habits?
Great question. So, good habits are those that contribute positively to your life, like exercising, saving money, or practicing gratitude. Bad habits, on the other hand, give short term comfort or reward, but ultimately harm you, like procrastinating, overspending, or unhealthy snacking.
Okay, so my next question is psychology behind habits.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the psychology behind habits involves a few key elements. There's a cue or trigger, the routine, the behavior itself, and the reward we get. Our brains release dopamine in anticipation of rewards, which makes the habit more likely to stick. And that's why repetition and reinforcement are so powerful in habit formation.
Okay, so my next question is, why is it hard to break bad habits? Please tell me each of my question answer in detail.
Absolutely. So, breaking bad habits is tough because they're often tied to strong emotional rewards or stress relief. They've become ingrained through repeated associations, so even when we logically know they're bad, they still give us comfort or instant gratification. Plus, the cues that trigger them can be really subtle and hard to avoid.
Okay, so my next question is, how does the brain reinforce repeated behaviors?
Great question. So, the brain uses a chemical called dopamine as a reward signal. Every time a behavior is repeated and leads to positive outcome, dopamine is released, which strengthens the neural pathways associated with that action. Over time, that makes the behavior feel more automatic and rewarding.
Okay, so my next question is, what is the role of dopamine in habits?
Yeah, so dopamine plays a central role. It's basically the brain's way of saying, this was good, do it again. When a habit is formed, the anticipation of a reward spikes dopamine, which motivates us to repeat the behavior. That's why habits can be so sticky. They're tied to that dopamine reward loop.
Okay, so my next is, why should you start with small, manageable habits?
Yeah, that's a crucial point. Starting small makes habits less intimidating, so you don't overwhelm yourself. Plus, small wins build confidence and momentum. Once those tiny habits are locked in, you can scale them up, and you're more likely to stick with them long term.
Okay, so my next question is what is the 2 minute rule in habit building?
Ah, great one. The 2 minute re says that when you're starting a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is that once you begin, it's easier to keep going. So you reduce the barrier to entry, and that small action makes it easier to build momentum toward bigger behaviors.
Okay, so my next question is how can habit stacking make habits easier to adopt?
Yeah, so habit stacking is when you tie a new habit to an existing one. Basically, you piggyback on something you already do consistently. For example, if you already have a morning coffee, you might stack a habit of doing a 5 minute stretch right after. This makes the new habit easier to remember and fit into your routine.
Okay, so my next question is why is setting clear goals important?
That's a really important point. Clear goals give you direction and a sense of purpose. They help you focus on exactly what you want to achieve, and they allow you to measure progress. Without clear goals, it's easy to drift or lose motivation because you don't have a concrete target.
Okay, so my next question is how can tracking progress improve consistency?
Yeah, tracking progress is super powerful because it makes your efforts visible. When you see how far you've come, whether it's a streak or just small milestones, it boosts your motivation and keeps you accountable. It's a constant reminder that progress is happening, even if it's slow.
Okay, so my next is why is important to remove distractions?
Ah, great point. Removing distractions is crucial because those are often the cues that derail us from our habits. When you clear out temptations or interruptions, it's easier to stay focused, which makes it more likely you'll follow through consistently.
Please give uh, answer of my questions in detail. So my next is why is self-awareness important in breaking habits?
Absolutely. Self awareness is really crucial because it helps you understand why you engage in certain habits. When you're aware of the emotions, situations, or triggers behind them, you can interrupt the cycle. Self awareness gives you the power to choose different responses, breaking those unconscious patterns and replacing them with healthier ones.
Okay, so my next is how does stress trigger navigate negative habits?
Yeah, that's a big factor. Stress often pushes us toward quick, easy rewards like comfort food, excessive screen time, or even smoking. Our brains associate those behaviors with short term relief. So when we're stressed, we're more likely to revert to those patterns, which is why managing stress is so important in breaking negative habits.
Okay, so my next question is how long does it take to build a lasting habit?
Yeah, that's a bit of a myth buster. While a popular idea is 21 days, research actually suggests it can take anywhere from 2 to 8 months, depending on the complexity of the habit. The key is consistency. The more regularly you repeat it, the more likely it is to stick.
Okay, so my next is why is patience essential in habit formation?
That's a really key point. Habit formation is a gradual process, and progress can be slow and nonlinear. If you don't have patience, you might give up when you don't see immediate results. But by staying patient, you let those small repeated actions build until they become second nature.
Okay, so my next question is how can rewards help maintain habits long term?
Yeah, rewards are really powerful because they create positive reinforcement. When you reward yourself after a habit, it boosts motivation and makes the brain associate that habit with good feelings. Over time, even when the rewards become subtle, that positive association helps keep you consistent.
Okay, so my next is what are effective ways to identify bad habits?
That's a great question. Effective ways to identify bad habits include paying close attention to when you feel a dip in energy, stress, or boredom, because often habits pop up as coping mechanisms. You can also track your daily behaviors in a journal or reflect on where you feel stuck or unproductive. Once you spot those patterns, you can start addressing them.
Okay, so my last question is what mindset is needed to sustain habits for life?
Yeah, so a growth mindset is really essential. It's about seeing habits as a continuous journey, not a quick fix. You also need self compassion, accepting that setbacks happen, and a long term perspective. So you keep showing up even when progress is slow.
Thank you so much giving me valuable information. Okay, guys, don't forget to share, like, and follow.
You're so welcome. I'm really glad the info was helpful. And yes, definitely, if anyone found this useful, give it a share, a like, and a follow. I really appreciate it.